ददान्ति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome again for today's one more Japa talk session. तो आज का सेशन में मैं जपा का महत्व और उसका मूल उद्देश्य क्या है उसका बारे में चर्चा करूंगा. So for this I have taken reference from teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So इसमें चैतन्य महाप्रभु जब पहले बार रूप गोस्वामी को मिलते हैं तो उनको 10 दिन तक भक्ति का बारे में प्रचार करते हैं. तो इसमें चैतन्य महाप्रभु रूप गोस्वामी को बोलते हैं कि ये भक्ति जीवन का महत्व क्या है. इसे कहकर he tells this to Rupa Goswami and then he starts like this. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that जो भी जीव है दो तरह के जीव होते हैं. तो एक जीव जो two living entities, one is moving जो सब जगह जाता है और एक है जो स्थान पे है वही पे रहता है. So moving and the non-moving. So he says there are two types of living entities. One is moving and the other is the non-moving. So the non-moving living entities are like the trees and the trees which actually stays in one position for long years for many times. And in the moving living entities, he says there are three types of moving living entities. And that jivas are like the jivas which flies on the skies and the jivas which are there under the water and the jivas which are there on the land. So he says that this in the moving living entities there are three types, which is one is in the sky, one is in the land, another is in the water. And out of this living entities, there are many living entities that are actually present in the land. And out of this living entities, human being is one of the living entities. And then he says, even in this human being kind of living entities, there are two kinds of people. So one are the people who are like atheist people, and the others people are like the are people who are righteous people, he says. So these are unrighteous people are the atheists who actually doesn't believe on the existence of the God, and who are not much civilized. There is another sector of people who are civilized. It's like a civilized people who are religious people who follow the rules and regulation, and then they believe there is existence of some power. So so he categorized again the human civilization also like into two parts. So one is the atheist and the other is the righteous people. So even in this righteous people, he again divides that these righteous peoples, they engage in religious activity, in pious activity. And in that people also, again, there are different categories, three categories. And one category is like people who engage in the righteous activity with the expectation of sense gratifications. So they want to in order to gratify their senses, in order to improve their material positions, they engage in the righteous activity or the activities prescribed in the scriptures, but they also believe in the God. And there are second kinds of people who actually understand that they engage in the righteous activity to actually know, by knowing that we are not this actually body, but we are actually soul. So at least theoretically they know that we are actually not this body, but we are soul. So these peoples are known as jnanis. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, to attain liberation, just having a theoretical knowledge of this knowledge of that I am not this body, but the soul is enough. So the jnanis are one doing that part. But out of hundreds and hundreds of millions of people who are righteous, thousands of millions of people who are righteous, so there are only some hundreds of people who actually come to this part. And out of this hundreds and thousands of these gyanis, there are some people, only some people, who know that by knowing only this, it is not sufficient, but they try to know that there is an absolute truth, and that absolute truth, by serving that absolute truth, we serving the absolute truth is the ultimate our constitutional position, that is our natural positions. So only, so out of this millions and millions of people, only some people try to, some of them try to know that engaging in the devotional service of the God is the ultimate purpose. So those are the devotees of the Lord. So how a devotee actually, how these devotees actually get this to get to this position, and how actually they attain to this that stage of liberation. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that only through the mercy of the Krishna or the spiritual master, the devotee actually gets the seed of devotional service. So even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Guru Krishna Kripa Paye Bhakti Lata Beej. So what is this Bhakti Lata Beej? So this Bhakti Lata Beej, that is the seed of the devotional service, this is actually got to us, got to a devotee by the mercy of the Krishna and Guru. So they actually take the seed of devotional service, devotional service, and put into the heart of a devotee. So what happens to the seed once it comes into the heart of a devotee? Now this devotee has to actually, and has to actually sprout, make the seed sprout. How he sprouts it? The seed has to be just taken care very carefully, just like a gardener. When you put a seed on into the mud, like how you take care as a gardener, nicely water the seed, and do whatever necessary fertilizers to it, so that it actually grows. So similarly, a devotee, once he gets the mercy through Guru and Krishna, the seed of devotional service, it is his responsibility to nicely water that seed, so that that seed sprouts and actually starts growing like a plant. So what is that we have to do as a gardener to sprout this seed? So that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says is that devotionals should engage in the favorable activities of devotional service. Just like a seed has to have a favorable conditions for it to sprout, similarly for the seed to sprout, that the seed of devotional service that the Guru has sown into our heart, for it to sprout, we need to actually do favorable things. And what are the favorable things in the devotional service? So first thing is hearing and chanting. So this is a very important part of watering this seed. So hearing, chanting the glories of the names of the Lord. So that's what we do. So when we chant the names of the Lord, and when we hear about the glories of the Lord, and then in the associations of the devotees, we read from the scriptures. So these are all favorable things that help us to actually sprout this seed of devotional service. So once this seed gets this favorable condition, then it actually slowly sprouts up into plant. And then when the gardener takes care of the plant very nicely, and the tree plant grows on and then becomes a tree, then it actually grows on, and then it grows very big and tall. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says it grows as taller as above the sky. It actually breaks open this Brahmanda, the covering of the Brahmanda, and it goes past Brahma Jyoti, and finally goes and takes shelter of the lotus, goes to Goloka and takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. So that is what actually a devotee aspires. That is the final goal that we are aspiring with the seed of devotional service, where he attains the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And once he attains the lotus feet of the Lord, then there actually the fruits of devotional service actually comes out. So then there only we will attain the fruits of the devotional service, and that fruits of devotional service is nothing but the transcendental love of Godhead. So we to attain that love of Godhead, we should see that the seed is taken care properly, and this plant grows into a tree and attains the lotus feet of the Lord. But to grow this plant, it is not very easy. Just like when a plant grows on, like there is always a hindrance. So one of the main hindrances, like the animals might come and then eat away the leaves, eat away the leaves. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, especially this mad elephant, when a mad elephant comes into a garden, that it completely spoils everything. So a devotee should be very, very careful in seeing that this mad elephant doesn't actually come into his garden. So what is this mad elephant? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says is the offense that we create against the Vaishnavas. So one should be very careful that we should not engage when we are practicing the devotional service. We should be very, very careful that we actually ensure that a pure Vaishnava is actually not offended. Because if the pure Vaishnava is offended, it's as good as a mad elephant entering into the garden. Then the whole plant actually it dries up. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that a devotee should carefully take care that the plant is seen that it is watered properly through the activities of devotional service, through the favorable activities of devotional service. Then only that plant can grow. So if we by chance leave it to dry up through our offenses, this plant will dry up and then further it will not grow. So that is why we see like it's a consistent and consistent determination and effort to see that the plant of devotional service keeps on growing. So it is very, very important that we be part of this devotional service and engage in the activities of the devotional service in the association of the devotees, and see that we don't engage in any of the offenses. So all the 10 offenses that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes here actually is given to Rupa Goswami, saying that how by guarding oneself against these 10 offenses, we can protect our devotional service and attain the goal of reaching the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says to Rupa Goswami. I just summarized it so that we can understand that how we can actually grow this small plant of devotional service that we have received through the mercy of the Guru and Krishna. And it's not that everyone receives this seed. Out of so many and so many living entities in this Brahmanda, only some are qualified to receive this seed. So once we receive this seed of devotional service, it becomes our prime responsibility as a gardener to ensure that this plant is safely protected with just like a plant is protected with all the guards. So similarly, it is our responsibility to protect it from all types of to guard it from all types of or safeguard it and ensure that we attain the ultimate goal of devotional service, that is reaching the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So I'll stop here in the interest of time. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Roger, thank you. It was so nice to hear about how to guard our creeper of our devotion.